So g'day, welcome back. Start this one with a beer, just because we can. So today we've got the Barking Spider KPA. It's like an IPA, but it's a KPA, a Kiwi Pale Ale, 5%er from whereabouts in New Zealand? Somewhere in New Zealand, Canterbury, New Zealand, so it's a local one. So crack her open. Pretty tasty. Right, so the time has come. Need to start planning this project. So Project VR6 needs a better name. We'll come to that later. So what do we got? We've got my 1998 Golf VR6. You've seen it in a lot of videos. You've seen it on my track day. Great car. Kind of being replaced as a daily driver. I still drive it to work from time to time, just to give it a run. Beautiful car to drive. It's had a lot of maintenance. Just replaced the radiator, just rebuilt the transmission, just lots of stuff on it. It's a nice, solid, reliable car, but it needs a purpose in life. As I said, it's not used every day. It's still a nice, reliable car. Probably spent too much on maintenance to think about selling it. That'd be terrible. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to make it better. We probably spied a few bits on the front here. These were our Autotech 262 cams that we picked up nice and cheap. But again, there's a bit more to it than just some camshafts. So, I've got a cheat sheet because I'm drinking beer and whatever else. So, we're going to do some performance mods, the heart of which is going to be the camshafts. But in New Zealand we've got a few rules we've got to work with. I say work with. If I wasn't filming all of this, we probably could have just done a few backdoor things and not worried about it. But New Zealand, we've got our LVV certification, low volume vehicle certification. The things you can and can't do to a vehicle before you need to have those modifications certified. Lots of documentation about it. But to break it down, we'll run through the main things. So this is what we can do to the car without needing to spend $700 on getting a tag, a certification tag that's been modified. So engine, we can increase engine power by up to 20%. Now, stock at the factory it came 174 brake horsepower. A few of those ponies have probably run away somewhere, but 20% on top of 174 is 208.8 horsepower. So we can comfortably go just over 200 horsepower and that's fine. I think 200 horsepower is a pretty good goal, 25 horsepower gain on an 18-year-old car. Brakes. Brakes, we cannot change the size of the discs or rotors, whatever you call them. We can't change any mounting points, otherwise we've got to get the car certified. So what we can do is uprated pads and rotors. See if we need to do that later on. Suspension, we cannot put coilovers on without needing certification. Anything adjustable needs to be certified. That said, I'm pretty happy with the Bilstein stuff that's in here. It's nice and firm and solid. An exhaust system. Well, this car doesn't need a catalytic converter, so that's one thing we can drop out. There's no emissions testing. And because it was registered before 2010 and it was built after 19 something, we don't need a catalytic converter, so that's going to save us a bit of power. Well, give us a bit of power. What else can we do? Gearbox, we can actually do the manual conversion, auto to manual conversion without needing certification, as long as we maintain all of the existing mounting points, which we do. But we're not going to do that. I've just spent good money on this gearbox. We're going to see if we can max out this gearbox. I'm not going to say see if we make it go bang, but I'm going to test the limits of the O&M gearbox, put a load more power through it, see what happens. So yeah, they're the parameters in which we've got to work. So we're going to see what we can do, see what we can achieve within those parameters. There's plenty of scope there to do cool things and not cost too much money. Alright, so obviously this car's already been to the racetrack. We've learnt a few things from that. Heat is definitely an issue. Even though we've replaced a lot of the cooling system, got a new radiator, oil temps, gearbox temps, cooling system temps, all got pretty hot. We're talking 125 Celsius, like oil temp got to on the track, and that's probably a bit warm. So, got to see what we can do there. Now, these have got oil to coolant heat exchangers, they're not oil coolers. So my buddy RHKIPS, he's just put in a high performance water pump in his VR6. Well, could be the way to go. Seems to have made a big difference to him. So yeah, this is going to be a two-stage project. Stage one is what we can achieve within the LVV certification rules and not need certification. And then we get stage two. Stage two may never happen. I might be happy with stage one. Stage two is a big step up. Stage two is where we're going to get it certified, which means we're going to do heaps of stuff to it, so we only have to go through that process once. And essentially, stage two means forced induction of some sort, either turbocharged or supercharged. We're not going to talk any more about that because it might never happen. We'll stick to what we can actually achieve. So, focus on our camshafts. Right, and I want this project to be as much of a collaboration as is going to be possible across the internet. So I've already mentioned RHKIPS. I don't know if we're going to use his real name or not, or I'm sure he'll let me know, but for the moment he's RHKIPS. He's heading up our technical team. Keen to get ideas and suggestions from you lot out there. I think we've got a pretty nice community, very supportive. Got lots of ideas that I've probably never thought of. So I want to get input from the YouTube Brains Trust, we'll call it. Obviously I'm not asking for money, I don't think that's appropriate, but there is a donation button on my website, but no, I don't want money, I just want ideas, help, suggestions, all those kind of things. Obviously if you've got spare VR6 performance parts and want to get rid of them, let's talk. In exchange I'll come up with some merchandise, some t-shirts and hats and decals, whatever else. We'll see what we're going to come up with for that. So I think one of the key themes is try and do this project on a budget, see what can be achieved in a garage with a box of spanners and not much else, box of beer probably. Don't want to throw too much money at the R&D side of things. So obviously we need to do some testing. We need to know where we are now and where we get to with all the modifications. And obviously rolling roads is a traditional way of doing that. It might come to having to do that. Obviously that's the cost we're trying to avoid. Or the alternative is a couple of track days. We'll do a track day before, track day after. Fortunately the track day I did before was on a track 1,000 kilometres from here, so we might have to roll down the road to Ruapuna, do a couple of track days there, see what we can do. But ideally I actually want like a horsepower number, so if you've got any ideas of how we can do some before and after testing, I'd be really keen to hear about that. In terms of timescale, well, as you know I've just had a kid. I'm finishing off my degree, which is going to take me another 12-14 weeks. I work full time, so time's a bit of a premium at the moment. So for the next 12 weeks, say, just going to be doing planning, getting an idea of what's going to be achieved, what parts I need, getting hold of some of those parts, and then as soon as I graduate, this is my graduation present to myself, we're going to tear into it, make some decent videos. And then I say decent videos, there's no kind of time limit on this. I'm going to do it right. I want a really good video series, well edited, quality camera angles, don't need to rush anything. It's a spare car now, so plenty of time to do this properly and show you as much as I can, really. So That should be really cool. All right. Now the other thing, this project needs a name. I've got a couple of ideas, but pretty keen to hear what you might have to say, what you can think. But yeah, it's a VR6, it's a project. It's not going to be called Project VR6, that's a dumb name, but I don't know. Project Blue Waffle, Project whatever you want to call it. It's open. Let me know. Give me some names and we'll see what we can come up with. Right, so whiteboard of destiny. We'll run through what's on there and then leave you to it. As we said, it's a two-stage process. We'll ignore stage 2 for now. That may or may not ever happen. Stage 1, can look at induction, intake and exhaust flow, do some porting and polishing there. As I said, we don't need a catalytic converter, so that bad boy's coming out. Whether I chop it myself and try and weld a pipe in, that's probably going to be a disaster, or if we get a pre-made test pipe or whatever they call them. Then we got our Autotech 262 cams, beautiful bits of engineering. I've got these on the cheap. We like getting things on the cheap. Then obviously to help manage the fact that we've got different cams, we need a performance chip of some sort. Autotech make one, plenty of other people make one. Gonna see what we can do, see if we can maybe bring in a sponsor, see if someone wants to send me a chip. Lessons learned from the racetrack again. Brakes held up really well on the track. They just kind of lacked a little bit of feel. There's a bit of pedal travel. So maybe might look at some stainless brake lines, see if we can kind of firm up the brakes a wee bit. But in terms of disc and pads, for now, they actually held up really well. So we're going to leave those until they wear out, then we'll look at options. Then obviously to go with the performance mods, we're going to look at some reliability. Obviously we're changing out the camshaft, so it'd be a good idea to change out the timing chains, the tension and all the other bits. That means taking the gearbox off, transmission off, which no big deal, make a good video or two. Cooling, as I said, things get pretty hot, big engine, small engine bay. Need to think of ideas there. Might need to put on an external oil cooler or do something else. Again, open to suggestions. And in terms of other maintenance things, I've never actually got around to doing on this car. There's not a lot. Most things have been done. It's only really the rear axle bushes, only because they're a pain in the ass to do. They probably need doing. So we'll chuck those on the list today. We're going to go for the PowerFlex ones, only because they're way easier to install than normal bonded bushes. And as I said, we're going to stick to the auto transmission, but obviously if that bites the dust, sucks a Kumara, shits itself, we'll then swap it to a manual gearbox and we can look at options there. There's a few different options. You've seen the one I've got in pieces down at my workshop. Well, guess what, it's still in pieces, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll quickly touch on stage 2. That's going to be forced induction, big brakes, brakes off a Audi TT, first generation Audi TT, bolt pretty much straight on. They're 310mm brakes as opposed to 288mm, so that's a useful upgrade. And we'll also take the head off at that point and give it a top end overhaul, put the metal head gasket off the Mark IV and do a few other things, but obviously money rules the roost there. I don't have a lot of spare money to throw at a pointless project car, but should be a lot of fun what we can achieve. So there, we'll turn you around and we'll wrap this up. Right, so that's where we're heading. Hopefully that gives you an idea of the project. So I said, it's a bit of a drawn out time scale, but once it gets moving, it should move pretty quickly. Going to be all about quality. Want to make the best videos I can for you. There's no hurry to get this done. I can take my time, edit, do all the other things. I won't have the pressures of study anymore, so that'll be good. So hopefully we'll be making high quality videos that are worth watching. And yeah, it'd be great to have as much input, collaboration and whatever else from you guys out there. As I said, I think we've got a really good community out there, lots of people willing to help each other. See if we can kind of bring it together for this project a little bit and see if we can get some ideas and bits and pieces and really kind of build on that community feel. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this upcoming series. Sorry it's not going to start for a couple, 3 months, but I think it'll be well worth it, and looking forward to your ideas, suggestions and whatever else. Obviously like, subscribe if you want to see updates on this, and we'll keep you informed. So thanks very much. See you at the next one.